Alrighty. Hey, everybody. Again, I hope you're doing well. Um, Today, again, I guess yesterday was May the 4th, and today is Return slash Revenge of the Fifth, or Sith, or whatever you want to call it. So I thought I would make an environment for a Sith Lord. Now, the first thing I thought of was the Dread Sith Temple, and it's kind of a cool idea, except that A, they've kind of already been designed, and I feel a little bit weird about, messing with them too much. And B, I don't feel like it really tells a heck of a story, and that's what I wanted to do. So what we're gonna do is imagine. Let's set our parameters for kind of what we're gonna build. So imagine a Sith Lord, somewhat like Yoda. So he is in disgrace. He is on a backwater nowhere planet, and he's essentially living out his life. And while Sith Lords are always, ambitious and trying to change their surroundings, he's stuck here at least for a while. So what would that look like? What would a Sith Lord Dagobah sort of thing do? I'm not going to be Dagobah, but so what are our parameters? Like, what makes a Sith environment versus a rebel environment versus an imperial environment versus I don't know. And I keep coming back to over and over again the statement, the Sith deal in absolutes. So they are egotistical. They like boundaries. When I think of where Yoda and Obi-Wan and even Luke in the last one live, these are places that are essentially at harmony with their environments, where a Sith Lord is not in harmony with anything. A Sith Lord sets their will upon the environment and makes their mark. Even a disgraced Sith Lord living in the middle of nowhere is going to set their stamp on the world. I think that's what sets it up as being perhaps the most Sith-like, if I had to think of something. So mark on the world is our vibe. And I think they're going to want it to be as ostentatious as possible and feel like they are powerful in this environment. So again, that same kind of thing about making your mark on the world. It's about power. It's about displaying power as much as you can. So what makes this story interesting to me is, what do you do when you're in disgrace? Like, you're a putz. This guy has no power, at least compared to how he used to be. But he's still a Sith Lord, and he's still dealing with absolutes. And Sith Lords are not wimps. And we've mostly seen them in power, where they have ostentatious buildings and Death Stars and all that kind of stuff. But my impression of a Sith Lord is they don't mind hardship. They're not adverse to pain. These are people that, do what they need to do to get what they want. And that's their overall vibe. So you're Sith Lord Darth Leftoverus, and you're stuck on, I'm going to call it because I like this environment, an Iceland-like environment. So some moss, lots of rocks, not a lot of trees, whatever. What are you going to do? You can build with the available materials, and I'm sure you have some techie stuff. Like, you're not stuck. But Woo! So anyway, aside, I'm using the move tool to set up my ground plane. I just made a thing, and I just want to get it flat. So here's my ground plane, which we are going to rename. Maybe. Select, rename, ground. Work. Hello. There we go. Get back a little bit. Ground. All right. So this is our stage that we're going to build from. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this as an environment is I kind of want to make something that is about the same scale as yesterday's thing. Okay, there's our build space right now, so that's fine. But let's just remember that inside that block is where we're going to build, and the rest is kind of okay. So you know, like, it's going to be big, but it's not going to be Death Star big. It's not going to be Jabba's palace big. It's going to be one disgraced, probably feeling slightly shamed, but wants to hide it, Sith Lord is living. I think that's the key for me, is he's going to be here. Turn the line on, continuous. And he's going to want to prove that he is not a failure for having dealt with all this, this crap that he's stuck with. But secretly, he feels like a failure. So, okay. So the first thing I would say is going to be is that almost no curved shapes. I feel like the Sith don't do the curved thing very much. That's more of a Jedi, again, unity and, peace with your surroundings. The Sith are going to be way more into the, this is my world and I have dominion over it. If you think about it, Sith are Christians, welcome to, you are chosen and you have dominion over the land and the creatures therein. They feel no remorse over using what's around. I think that's an interesting thing to think about too, because we often think about the Sith as the bad guys, and definitely Lucas sort of had that vibe to them, clearly. But they are the rugged individualists of the Star Wars universe. They are, they're the ones that believe that it is by will alone that I set my mind in motion. They're mentats. And that's important, because I don't know that a Sith is incapable of love and caring and all those kinds of things. They just do it on their terms. They want everything on their terms, and they believe they have the power to make a difference in both the world and their lives and all that kind of stuff, and that gets lost a lot in our Star Wars storytelling, that they, what's his name? Anakin did what he did because he cared, not because he didn't care. It wasn't because he just wanted to take over and be a bastard. He acted because he cared. But he acted. He imposed his will upon the environment. And that's what this guy's going to do. So you see, it's mirroring yesterday. I've started with that same kind of shape. I think it's kind of a neat shape for one thing. But please tell me I did my layer. Yes. So let's duplicate the layer though. And now what I want to do is take that shape and reuse it again here. Cool. Well, cool. And then duplicate it again and reuse it. I may have to make my world bigger. there. There. Okay. And what I want to show with this is they are creating a space where you are directed to them, which is great for filmmaking too. But from a world perspective, here is his space. He exists in the center of it, and he is important. Focus your attention on him. This kind of storytelling and environment building, I think, is really key. I'm going to go back and make my ground plane a little bit bigger now. But yeah, it matters to think about it in terms of, nope, undo. Active layer only. And my active layer is ground, yes. Where was I? I don't know. But yes, think of who's making the environment and what story do you want to subconsciously tell about that person or that kind of person or that group of people. And I think what we want to tell with these guys is they are inward focusing. They want everything to come to them. And that's cool because that makes for ironically though, think about it, that's exactly how cinematography works. And that's what makes it cool. So can we shrink this? I don't know why it won't let me shrink it. It may be because I'm as small as it'll let me go. But I don't want to close in. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah, okay. And then duplicate it again. And do that. So as a Sith Lord, I think he's going to care way more than the rebels would about making something look intentional, because it's always all about intent. The why matters to a Sith. Maybe, funny enough, maybe more than the what. Why are you doing this? Is it personal glory? Is it whatever? But you have a reason for how you act. All right. Kind of liking this as a structural thing. And it's kind of mirroring that Sith temple a little bit, too, in my mind, which I liked. I'm going to merge all those. And shortly I will put something in place to sort of show our scale. Yeah, I know. I'm actually going to decrease the res on this because this is just a sketch and I don't think this layer needs to be as big as it is, but... Oh, come on. Thinking. I may have overtaxed it a little bit. So, while it's thinking, how you guys doing this weekend? Free comic book day today. That's awesome. Tequila drinking tonight. For some people, that's awesome. I'm not a huge drinker, but, I might go for a margarita tonight. Please don't die on me. Come on. These hands. These dirty hands. Yeah, okay, so while it's thinking, let's kind of talk about what I'm planning on doing next. So once this is finished syncing together, hopefully it doesn't completely destroy itself. Although if it does, I'll just redo it. It's not hard. We're going to skin it, and we're going to start adding some details to it. I might give it a third level. I feel like that might give it a nice read, but I also don't want it to get too big, so... Come on, I'm a little nervous now. Please tell me it's not freaking out. I'm actually glad that those things disappeared. It means it's thinking about it, but... and they did disappear all the way, unfortunately. Damn it. Can I undo it and bring them back? No. Yes. Ooh, freaking out. Alright. Fine. Oh. I'm gonna decrease the res. And I'm going to start over again, but... Okay. I don't know where it went, though. Where's layer 2? Let's see if, am I outside of it? No. I'm back in my space again. There's layer 2. Okay. Bring it back. Bring it back. Place it down. There. A bit bigger. Place it down there. Okay. Let's decrease layer 3. I'm sorry for this taking a while. But I think it'll be faster in the long run. Decrease layer 4. Cool. Decrease layer 5. And decrease layer 6. And I think I'm just going to leave them on their own layer now, just because I don't really need them to be synced, and I don't want to deal with waiting around again for again. Okay. But now let's go to the back side. Again, 3D, so I might as well fill in the spaces. There's no reason not to. And okay. Okay. It's not exactly perfect, but that's kind of interesting for me, again, story-wise, because as much as they try to be perfect, they always screw it up. That's kind of the moral of the Star Wars story, if you think about it, to me, again, is that, like, personal control only works so well. After a while, you have to let go and let the Force do kind of what it wants to. Sort of a neat idea. And all right, so there we have that. And do I want a third level, or do I like that arrow down? I kind of like that arrow down. So maybe let's create one new layer so I can duplicate it. And let's just go a bit more vertical. I do wish, again, and maybe it does and I don't know how to do it, I wish there was a vertical lock on this thing. Gravity Sketch has got a vertical lock. It's kind of cool. And I feel like this would be cool to have that, but oh well. On the top, so I make sure I'm kind of lining up right. Looks good. Looks good. All right, so there's our third level on that side. It's interesting how I am actually kind of making a Jedi temple, or a Sith temple. It's kind of pyramid-like. It's got the parts, but it's one of the things that the designers are really smart. Like, they've thought about the same kind of story elements that I have, and if you've thought about story elements, after a while, there's only so many solutions to one story idea, and that's where you end up. I mean, there are many. That's not entirely true, but a couple ones sort of make sense. Okay, so we're going to call that our structural sketch level. I'm liking it. And incidentally, just for purposes of like thinking, I'm assuming one dude is about at like that scale. So like, you know, okay, it's 3 stories. The guy's probably like, you know, that big. Okay. New layer. And I'm going to go with a new color to give me something. And I think he is going to make it out of stone. He is just like that, you know. He's that kind of guy. And I'm going to reset my thing to the top. That'll make it easier. Okay. And it's our initial kind of layer. Let's smooth it the heck down. And alright, yep, cool. And I could just duplicate it and whatever, but let's just paint. I think it's kind of more fun anyway. Let's try this though. Just because we have a mostly vertical piece, if I turn it like that, I'm going to turn it the other way around actually. Like that. That's going to like it. I think it's going to make it easier for me to lay this in. Yes. Yes, it definitely is. So I can kind of make sure. Okay, so the second wall for Darth left over us. And then no. Keeping it lined. It lined up. And it lined up. And lined up. I just forget I can go back too. I need to remember that. That's good. I can go this way, but then I can go back and fill it. Sometimes it's easier to set it right in the middle to figure where you want to be. And then go back like that. And that's cool. So, okay. Second wall. Well, let's do the middle ground now. Okay. And I'm going to probably end up like making cool pillar things along there too, but just in the meantime, because ostentatiousness is very much a Sith thing. Like, he has to look like he's important, because he needs to show the world that his will matters, or hers. But I don't know. For some reason, our Western culture definitely associates that kind of behavior as a more masculine behavior, which is silly. I know women that are just as egotistical as men, but from our storytelling, we're going to assume that this dude with his giant phallic-shaped tower to ego, I guess not super phallic, kind of yonic too, but we're going to assume it's a guy. Our Sith Lord is, Darth left over us is a dude. He doesn't need to be, but sometimes it doesn't matter what choice you make as long as you make a choice. And this is one of those times for me where I don't really care, so he's going to be a guy. And if nothing else, it makes it easier for me to put myself in his shoes as I'm thinking about design. Because, I mean, there's a bit of that Sith in all of us, that kind of, I want to control the outcome. I need to know that the people I care about are safe. I need to know that I'm going to have a job next week. I need to know that I matter. That's the way of the dark side, my friends. That's what it means to be a Sith. It also seems to be what it means to be a Republican, but, I try to keep politics out of this, but you guys know me because you're on my Facebook. I don't really keep politics out of much of anything. I am not good at it. But if you think about it from that perspective, it's like, I care about my family. I want to make sure that they are safe. I want to make sure they have a place to live. I want to make sure that they're going to be okay. And you can't do that. Don't have children if you can't handle the fact that you can't control the outcome. Because they're little wackos and can do all kinds of stuff that has nothing to do with what you wanted them to do. And they get in trouble. And, it's one of the reasons why I think they say it's like they want young kids with no attachments for Jedi. It's like you want to train. Well, it's easy because, man, it gets hard when you care about things. If you can get them when they're young and build that level of detachment, and that's what you want. Like there are whole schools of people on the internet that think that the Sith have it right, that that the Jedi are weird monastic terrorists that don't pay attention to human needs and are uncaring bastards. I don't know. What do you think? It could be. I tend to feel like, okay, so my dad was a Buddhist, and I definitely have that like detachment, good, kind of hardwired into my nature a little bit. And at the same token, I really care about a lot of stuff. So if you really care, it's hard not to see the POV of the Sith. Bet you didn't think you were going to get philosophy when you came on to watch me today, but that's how it goes. Or maybe you did think that. How can you talk about Star Wars and not talk about philosophy, though? That to me is like the key element of this story. I'm sorry, I'm going a little slow, but I am getting this done. I'm not yet 100% super quick at this sort of thing. Well, I'm getting faster. He says as he makes a mistake. But bear with me. I've been using this tool less than 2 weeks, so I think I got my Oculus 2 weeks ago. Wow. Feels like forever now in some senses, because this is such a great way to work for me. This has really changed everything about how I think about designing spaces and making stuff. And that is awesome. I'm really, really pleased. But I'm still not the fastest I'll probably be, which should frighten you, because I'm pretty fast at it now, and it's only going to get better. I know I've said it a bunch of times, but this to me is the absolute future of entertainment design. It's going to be VR. And like I was talking to one of the Vancouver people yesterday, and they were like, but not for 2D. Yes, for 2D. I'm sorry. But man, I can make a turnaround for your 2D character in no time at all. And then once that's done, I can toon shade it in no time at all in, Keyshot, and give you all the design you would need for a 2D character, but with turnarounds and the ability to think about it in real space as I'm going about making it. And that's huge. Like there's no way around this, guys. This makes sense. When you can make a shape and see what it looks like in relation to yourself in real size, and then rotate it and resize it, this is the future. I mean, between like, drawing and painting aren't going away, man. Well, no, they're not. Drawing and painting are not going away. There's always going to be, like, I'd still draw to come up with ideas, and I still paint to fill things together. But I kind of liken it, I think I said to somebody at Emerald City Comic Con, that painting for me has really become the super glue that holds my designs together. It's important. You can't really make a model kit without super glue. But it's not the primary element. You can't make a model kit with just super glue either. So, like, if you're in school and you're wondering, like, should I learn to paint? I like to paint. Why do I do this? Well, I mean, like, I don't want to sound flip, but I'm sorry. The industry is changing. And the industry is changing rapidly. I mean, you're coming to anyone who's just a digital painter now is coming to the same thing now that those poor animators came to in the late 90s, where Disney animators had been doing it 2D on paper, well, not even 2D, but on paper for, forever. And it made some amazing movies, and there was a lot of skill. And then the Cintiq came around, and a lot of people lost their jobs. So, I don't know about you guys, but my Sith nature comes out. I don't want to be the guy that loses his job. That's very much where I'm at, I think that if someone's going to lose their job, I'd rather it be you. No, I'd rather it be somebody who didn't keep up, because this is a good way to work. So if you're going to use a good way to work, then respect it. Learn from it. No one ever made you any promises and said you wouldn't have to learn anymore after you finished art school. Or that your tool set was the best way to do it. Your tool set was the best way to do it at the time. Very definitely. Man, like, the Cintiq changed the world for making art stuff in an amazing, amazing way. But so's this. This is, and to put it in perspective, this rig that I'm using right now to design stuff costs less than a third what my 22-inch Cintiq cost. Less than a third. So, and do you still need a Cintiq? Well, yeah, probably, maybe, but not necessarily. If you're into doing this and you've got more time to make sure things are tight and finished, probably not. You could probably make designs like this without a Cintiq. And wow, that's gonna shake some stuff up. Kind of like shaking stuff up though. Okay, one more, almost there. I thought about doing something different with the walls or the roof, but I decided just to do it kind of the same. So, because I am using my Cintiq still, the advantage I have is I don't have to take this to a tight model. I can take it to rough, and then if I want to do more than just, what I'm doing for my demos, which is here's a keyshot render and, get on my house, then I have the ability to take this into Photoshop and do whatever things I feel like. Okay, so we have our structure, which took me way longer probably than it should have, but there's a structure. Please, I am on a layer. Good. So no walls. If you don't do that. If you were watching yesterday when I put all of my foliage on the wrong layer and then could no longer play with it, I was so disappointed. I really was bummed. So it's one of those things you learn and then you try not to do it again. So today I'm going to really attempt to not do that. Okay, let's go more frontal on this one. Okay. So the other cool thing about this, if you think about it from a story perspective, is what we are saying here is this is intentional but rough. They care not for such things as pretty. This is functional for him. He wants to feel powerful. He wants to feel like he has conquered the environment. And maybe part of conquering something is leaving just enough of it left that it can recognize that it was conquered. Does that make sense to you? It kind of makes sense to me. So, you want it to feel rough. You want it to feel kind of oomphy. Oomphy being a word. Okay, there's the starting point. So now we're going to kind of start adding some more detail. I love with these, I actually wish I hadn't done this now. I'm going to go over this layer again. I love that it gives you this like subtle texture. I love the, the rock feeling I get out of this. They never meant you to do this, incidentally. Like, these stamps were meant to be like plump, plump, plump. Because when they built this app, from what I've heard from listening to the developers, they were thinking about it for soft shapes mostly. They were thinking about it for creatures. And they just thought, oh, we'll put some of this for like real simple environments just to sort of set your sculpt in, like a stand almost for a miniature in real life. And then people went, oh my God, we can do this. This is so cool. And I think I've heard that the next version is going to have a lot more stuff for hard surface modeling, which I'm psyched about. But okay, so we got that. It's reading pretty well. It feels brutalist. It feels like it's pointing you to there. This is definitely where our focal point needs to be. That's where the doorway needs to be, for whatever it is. I think that I'm going to, instead of making it a square thing, though, I'm going to use, actually, let's use this pillar again. Reuse the pillar. Make it bigger. I'm in my space. Yes. Come on. There we go. Set the tool application. And I have not yet gone to a new layer, but I'm aware that I need to soon. So there's our front entrance, which I am now going to go to the square brush, shrink her down, up there. There's her doorway. Obviously it doesn't go in any further, but advantages of Photoshop, I can just make it black if I need to later. So we have a doorway now. We have walls. Let's start adding, let's add a new layer. Layer 10. This is layer 10 is going to be our details layer. And so that we can tell what we're doing again, let's change the color to that. So now, yeah, we have a darker color for our trim and that sort of thing. I'll try to get a little bit more precise. And pillar. I'm going to go, I didn't do this before, so let's increase the res and increase the res. And there's our space to work in, so it's still temple sized. I've not yet lost it, so perfect. And big pillars, which we are going to line up best we can. Did I press that button again? I pressed that button again. Yeah, line up the best we can. Cool. There's a weird button I didn't know about, and it takes you back to the main menu, which fortunately I don't think it does on the demo. But like, I don't think you guys see that, but because you're viewing my medium window. But it takes you back to the main Oculus window, which I don't want you to do. Okay, there. Again, it's not going to be symmetrical. I didn't turn on symmetry. I could have done that, and I intentionally did not. You see, it's not the same, but I want it to feel similar, for lack of a better word, I think. Okay, and then same thing up along here. You got to figure that this guy has now literally, he's by himself. He may have enslaved some locals, but in his mind, he's by himself. See, I told you he's a Republican. He can enslave some locals and still feel like he did it all on his own. Maybe he's a libertarian. I take no prisoners. So he's just doing it the way he feels like it needs to be done, but he doesn't have the thousands of trained engineers and whatever else to really amp it to the max. Don't like that one yet, though. Closer, 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 closer. Yes. My ode to white maleness is coming along nicely. I actually don't think it's going to need a lot because I want it to feel like stone, which is good because I spend a bunch of time screwing around with wall shaping this thing. But let's see what other things we can find that might make it kind of neat, though. We've used that, pillar A. Rock rectangle, that's just too rocky. We've used pillar caps A, pillar caps base. I don't know if we've used pillar caps base. Did I use that one or did I use that one? I used that one. So let's pillar caps. Did I not select it? No, I did. Pillar caps base. Yeah, I didn't use it yet. And then let's throw that down there. And maybe what I want to do, take it to one stamp for right now. I'm just going to stamp in some shapes because I think it might give me a bit more control in terms of size. Yeah, okay. Again, mirroring the power of 3, which I think is a cool design choice to do. And then let's give it some, like, angry looking I'm definitely stressing out my I don't know how many polys we're at, but I think it's starting to feel a little bit big. So let's do one there and one there. Okay. Whoa! Darth Leftoverus is definitely getting his man cave. Like, if you think of it, man, even the Sith's, like, taking new names is very much that kind of way, right? It's like, I am controlling who I am. No one else is going to pick anything about me from my name, my identity, my lightsaber. All of it came from me. They are the ultimate libertarians. Yeah, I'm definitely. Let's see, can it tell me how many polys I'm at? I wonder how many polys I'm at. Feels large. So, be kind of neat to add in a bunch of those, like, foliage type things, particularly since I didn't last time. But I also think I am running out of. I think I'm taxing my computer a little bit on this one for whatever reason. So I don't think we're going to do that. I probably made it too large. These are things you figure out by working. But I am going to kind of, to keep it from being just a fantasy temple, let's add a few mechanical bits to it. Because, you know, like he's in Star Wars. This is not a Conan tower. This is a Star Wars tower. And let's get another color. And I did a new layer, right? I'm on layer 11. Yes. Once burned. Creating. I want it a little more straight than that. Okay. Just a little mini Death Star. And then just gonna kind of kit bash up real quick. Some kind of a tower. It's not. Well, it's on its own layer that I can adjust it. I'll just tweak it at the end. Always make things in their own layer when you can. There's your moral of the story. Yeah, over here. I think I need to make myself a better antenna. I don't like this one super much yet. And it's really easy to make a new object in this tool, so I think I should just do it. But Okay, now. There we go. Now it's more vertical. There's our thing. Cool. And then maybe... he's not planning on contacting anybody, so he needs no, like, antenna to the world or whatever. This is where he's living, and you're going to come to him. This is the Sith Yoda, not the Sith, I want to transmit the plans to the Death Star. So he doesn't need that. But maybe what we'll do... One more new layer. And, wrong way. Let's go back and just grab a straight cylinder. Turn up steady stroke a bunch. Yep, cool. And shrink it down. And let's do... Did it work? Did it go underneath? It went underneath. Let's see. It's on a new layer, right? So I can... Yeah. No, I just got the... Oh! Was I on... See, I was on single! I wasn't on contiguous. Okay. My bad. That's why this wasn't working, right? Continuous. Probably you saw that, right? And you were like, Seth, you dummy. There's the power cable. And then back to layer 11. And techie bits. Ooh, let's use that techie bit. Make it a bit bigger. Go back to single. Turn off steady stroke because it slows it way down. And let go. Thank you. Give it control box and another one. And yeah, I think I'm gonna call this right now. I could keep playing with it, but like I said, my computer's starting to really lag out a little bit. I also haven't rebooted in like a week, and that's probably a bad idea. So. And I like these sort of rough-hewn rock walls, even though, like I said, they look chunky, but it looks deliberate. This is the whole point to this one. The mantra we want for this is deliberate, my agency over the world. And I feel like we got that. And I feel like if you come down in here to about this scale and look at it, it's working. We're at about human scale, so we're walking along. Yeah, all right, that works for me. I like it. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope the rest of your weekend is amazing. I'm still planning on doing one of these tomorrow morning. It'll probably be early. I'm going to the Owl Park tomorrow. They're having a free exposition, and I want to go play with owls. But so I'm thinking probably 7:30, 8 o'clock-ish tomorrow morning, maybe a little later, but it'll definitely be before 10. Okay, cool. Take care. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.